X account.
Woohoo! Welcome, welcome, welcome. It's Coach Les and Mr. Yarwood from Yarwood's Martial Arts, and we are here today with more of Mat Chat. And today we're going to be talking about some of the common questions that people often ask about martial arts training, along with some of the answers that will provide a little bit of clarity for beginners to those people that are curious about what it is to practice martial arts. What are some of the benefits? What are some of the reasons that I would want to kick my youth out of the house, get them away from their video games, get them away from the TV, and get them into a studio practicing martial arts? So I want to welcome Mr. Yarwood. Good to see you. Thank you so much for being here. And
Yes, sir.
I'm gonna fly the mic over to you to get started on this, and then I'll jump in.
Sounds good. So there's a lot of questions that people have about martial arts because it's not something that everybody has a lot of actual information about. Most of their information comes from TV or movies or whatever, and Bruce Lee and Chuck Norris. While that's all cool, that isn't necessarily reality when it comes to actual martial arts training. So I like to kind of give an outlay of what it is that martial arts training is and what it is that we actually do. Bruce Lee is probably everybody's favorite martial artist, right? He put martial arts on the map, which is really cool. But what he does and what we do in reality, it's not the same thing. He was a great martial artist, an actual martial artist, but his movie stuff was a little, I say Hollywood, right? So first of all, a lot of things people ask is, what martial art should I do? Well, if I were to answer that question, which I'm going to, I say Taekwondo just because that's what I do. But there's so many other martial arts out there that I just encourage people to do martial arts in general, whether it be Taekwondo with me, or you do karate, or there's Kung Fu, there's Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, there's traditional Japanese Jiu-Jitsu. I mean, there's so many different types. It really kind of depends on what you're looking for. All of them are going to offer something to you. It's just you have to figure out what it is that you're looking for. So if you're looking for, say, physical fitness and flexibility and life skill training and all those things, Taekwondo is a great way to go. We're known for kicking, which we do a lot of, which puts you in the flexibility mode where you can do a lot of cool things. Being flexible is something that's important in your everyday life, because when you're flexible, you move better, you can do a lot more things. You're able to just exist in life and not have a lot of pain and all that kind of stuff. But it's not, like I said, it's not a requirement that Taekwondo is what you do, but do your research, go out and find out, what are you looking for? Are you looking for self-defense? Are you looking for fitness? Are you looking to, improve some coordination skills, whatever that is? Find the one that you think is going to be best suited to what you're looking for, and then start doing it. And then once you start doing it, give it some time, because it's going to be a challenge. It's not going to be an easy thing to just suddenly you walk in the dojo and suddenly you're a martial artist. It doesn't necessarily work that way. So just be aware of what your reasons for starting a martial art are, and then take that into account when you decide to join. Why did you join Taekwondo, sir?
Well, so for me, originally when I was in my 20s, I joined karate. I joined the American Karate Association. It was the one that was close.
That's a big one.
I mean, yep. It was between, I lived at the University of Minnesota. I was a college student, just wrapping up. And it was between where I lived and class. So it just made sense. And
yep.
Convenience was a big factor.
For sure.
Sensei Robert Fusaro was our instructor. He was a ninth degree black belt in karate. And, for me, when I met him, the presence and personality of who he was also was another thing that drew me to him. And as I went through my first month, my quote unquote demonstration month, which I think made a big difference, I learned that it wasn't about money for him or his family. It was about health and being able to connect to your body and self-discipline. So all of the things that somebody would say, oh, well, it's a business. It's the about a business. Nope. It was the business was like, yes, it may have been in the top 10. But it was more about the person and the people. So when I stopped doing that years ago, when I met you, Mr. Yarwood, in a business networking organization, I saw an opportunity for us to work together, and a dream that I had to fulfill and to fulfill on, and for us to connect and make a difference. And I think the number one reason then was for health, flexibility. I mean, I'm 60 years old now. So even though, my training has slowed down with the acquisition of my newest business, the benefits that I have and some of the things that I do for stretching and continuing to maintain myself in my home gym have demonstrated to me, and really that physicality, that mental discipline, and I see the difference it makes for kids. Mm-hmm. And owning an ice cream shop is all about joy in kids and adults that have the kid inside them. And I see a lot of synergy. So for me, there's huge possibilities in how do we pull kids out of video, out of telephone, out of anxiety, out of depression, out of, if they're not like a, what I would say, skilled athlete, right? Being in one of the sports where, oh my gosh, yeah, he's a football star, or he's a baseball star, or he's a pro golfer and he's only a kid, and or tennis or volleyball or or lacrosse or soccer. This gives somebody an opportunity to start wherever they're at, whatever age they're at, to start and to move up into the ranks for self-development, regardless of age, regardless of skill level, regardless of, are you one of the cool kids? Or are you suffering from, depression or autism or ADHD or ADD or any of these things? Martial arts to me has now, I see the access. And if it could be a gift that I could give to the world, I would say every single kid ought to spend 1 to 4 years doing this, building that discipline and building that, having those tools available for them going through life.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I'm a firm believer that everybody should do martial arts, but I'm kind of biased. Another thing people ask is, do they need to be in shape to start training martial arts? I don't understand this question, because that's like asking, do I need to be in shape to start working out? Well, no, that's the point, right? You don't have to be in shape. You'll get in shape from the training, right? It doesn't make sense to go train somewhere else and get in shape and then come start doing martial arts. We're going to get you in shape. All the stuff we do, the flexibility, the the running, the sit-ups, the push-ups, the kicking, the punching, the blocking, the sparring, the everything that we do is going to get you in shape if you put your effort into it, right? So asking the question, do I need to be in shape first, it doesn't make sense to me. It's a silly question. So anybody of any age, any weight, whatever body type, doesn't matter. You come on the mats, come train. We're gonna train you where you are and get you down the road. We're not gonna expect that you are already in shape and that you already know how to do everything. There's, when you walk into a martial arts school for the first time, you don't know anything, right? We're gonna get you there. So being in shape doesn't matter. As a matter of fact, if you come in out of shape, we're gonna help you. We're gonna give you the tools that you need to get you in shape. So it's not even to me it's not even a question. I just move past it. It's like, no, you don't need to be in shape. Next question.
Well, I mean, it's like joining the military, right? I mean, I have a personal experience. I was told basic training was going to be super, super hard and super, super rigorous, right? On an average scale. So I, being the overachiever that I am sometimes, filled a backpack with rocks, was running, climbing, doing push-ups every day, sit-ups every day. I got down to basic training, and there wasn't enough time in the day for me to be able to keep the level of strength and that I gotten to, because they start out at the beginning.
Yep.
Right. So to me, it's in life. There's the beginning, and wherever you are, it doesn't matter. There's the beginning.
Yep.
And I had an opportunity in your Taekwondo to be able to move quicker due to the fact that I had risen to a certain point in karate. And so my initial skill level was a little more advanced. And you accommodate for that, which I think is wonderful. I did a little research before we got online. I was just playing around, and I did find out that, according to Google, right, if you look and say, what are the top 6 martial arts, Taekwondo is number 1, originating in Korea, both because it's a tournament martial art, but it's also an Olympic sport. Muay Thai's 2nd, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu's 3rd, boxing's 4th, Krav Maga, and then judo. So, I'm happy to say, for me, I look at, I see the difference. And I think the thing that I see most for me is Taekwondo works more on core and leg, whereas karate works more on hitting and striking and arms. And still there was that core there, but it's the percentages are different. And I look at what's more important as a health for a 60-year-old, and I can see that core and lower being much more important than core and upper.
Yep.
Right. So I thought that was kind of fun to find that out.
Yeah. And it's always, subjective. It depends on what your goals are with the martial arts. So, it's as a Taekwondo martial artist, I love Taekwondo, but I also on the side train in jiu-jitsu. So it's a different martial art altogether. So when you compare them, it's like comparing apples to oranges. It really kind of depends. But like I said, I'm biased towards Taekwondo. Another one they ask is it safe? Is martial arts training safe? Well, yes. What we do is we teach you the proper way to do all the techniques, the proper way to train. When we're sparring, we use protective equipment. There's no guarantee that you're not going to get hurt, right? That goes without saying with everything. It doesn't matter what you're doing, you can get hurt. But if you take the necessary precautions to train properly, learn how to do the things properly, and don't do things that, are going to be dumb and might hurt you, you're going to be fine, right? We all have issues with our body, knees, elbows, shoulders, whatever it is that we're dealing with. I've found that actually training in martial arts helps those things become better, right? When you're utilizing them and using them and stretching them and making them active, I think you actually get better. Your health improves versus getting injured. So to me, martial arts training is probably as safe as you're going to get, because it's assisting you in becoming stronger and better and healthier, unless you do dumb things.
Yeah, well, I'm one of those, right? Last November I was playing belt tag and twisted my knee, which was already going through its growing pains, and kind of put me on the sideline for a couple months. And then, of course, discover that my knees are getting old. Gosh darn it.
Just like everything else, right?
Yeah. Yeah. And, recovery is not as quick. And now I'm used to that, right? So one of the things that I'm much more aware of is being responsible for, hey, I'm not 20, I'm not 30, I'm not 40. Things don't bounce back in hours versus days. Now it's weeks and versus days. And, it's okay, because I think that, it continues to provide a challenge for me. How long does it take to become proficient? I think is one of the many questions that gets asked, right? I look at, it takes as long as it takes, and everybody has their own unique path. And one of the things that you can count on is that each place, wherever you go, I see this in your business, Mr. Yarwood, is getting to know the instructors that get to know you and design a path that's individual to you. And that, I think, is also another benefit, right? Because who are the people that are practicing at home?
Right.
You may only have 2 to 3 classes a week, but who's doing stuff at home? Who's taking it to the next level? So
making progress and becoming proficient is up to you. How much are you willing to do to get to where you want to go? If we have an accelerated program for those people who are interested in doing more. For me, that's the normal, but most people aren't, they may not have the time or whatever to do all the extra stuff, right? But I create a program for them if they're interested in doing it, but they have to be committed to it. I'm not just going to let them be in the program and then not get results because they didn't find the time to do it. So being in the accelerated program, you can get there a little bit faster as long as you're doing all the stuff, right? So instead of training, 2 to 3 times a week, you're training 5 to 6 times a week. You're coming to the gym every single class. And when you're there, you're actually practicing and learning and becoming better, and then taking it home and then watching the videos and training at home and doing all those things, right? Or on the other hand, maybe you only come to class 2 to 3 times a week and don't do anything else. Well, the results are going to speak for themselves. They're going to show you, that you're not ready to test for that next rank, that you're not ready to become a black belt yet. But it's because you haven't done the work that it takes to become one of those black belts. So it's a very individual thing. You decide how much work, how much effort you're going to put into it, how much training, how much practice, and then that will determine how proficient you become. And it's not about your talent level, because everybody has different skill levels. It's about you becoming a better version of you and improving yourself and getting further down the road than you ever thought you could. But it all takes that. It's all up here. It's all that demonstration of deciding that that's what you're going to do. So it's up to you essentially. You make the call. How much effort are you willing to put into it? And then I hear people say, I'm too old. How old did you say you were, Coach Les?
61.
60. Are you too old?
No.
No. I started when I was 36. Age has no bearing on starting training martial arts. It's an excuse. I'm too old. I'm too whatever. I hear it all the time. I have plenty of adults in my class that started in their 30s. Coach Les came back in his 50s. We have Mr. Greg, who's in his 60s, right? Started in his 60s. So I hear it as an excuse, not a reason. So age is not a barrier. It's just something that people use to not do something. I'm too old for that. Okay. That's a mindset.
It really is. And I think a lot of people know who Tony Robbins is.
Yeah.
And he has a guy that's in his 80s, started weightlifting, had never lifted weights before in his life. And at 83 years old, won a whole bunch of world titles, and lifting weights and weightlifting. At 80 years old, he started.
Yep.
So, yeah, when I hear people say, oh, you're too old, or are you too old to do that? Are you kidding me? No chance.
I agree.
So
you're never too old. And that also kind of goes along with physical abilities, right? Our school, we have kids who are have what's called spina bifida, and they're in a wheelchair. We have kids who had some issues when they were young, had that caused some disability in their legs and arms, and they're some of the fiercest competitors out there. They're the ones that fight the hardest because they have a barrier built in that they have no control over, but they decide that it's not going to stop them. As a matter of fact, it's going to motivate them. So, saying my knee hurts, my back hurts, it's, that's fine. That's life, but it's not a barrier to stop you from training in martial arts or whatever it is you want to do. You just like with age, it becomes an excuse that you lean on to not do something because it's going to be a challenge. It's not going to be easy. It's going to be hard. But if you're finding excuses all the time, then it doesn't matter what it is. You're not going to do it because you found a reason not to. It just goes back to that mindset thing. You determine how far you want to go. Nobody else does. I'll give you the tools to go as far as you want, but you have to make the decision to do it.
Yeah. Life is full of opportunities. And there's nobody that says it has to be this fast or this slow.
Exactly.
And I think that's the other thing. You're fighting yourself inside of martial arts. It's not about somebody else.
Yep. It's not a team sport. It's an individual sport. You are your competition. Obviously we have competitions and tournaments and whatnot, but all that does is show off all the work you've been doing, right? It's up to you to do the work to get there in the first place. So you are your competitor. How far are you going to allow yourself to go? Or are you going to get in your own way?
Yeah.
Some people start martial arts training because they want to learn how to protect themselves. It's a great reason, right? but they soon find out that when they get in there, it's not the primary reason. They become proficient physically. They can handle themselves in situations. We give them the tools to be able to do that. But it's not like a guarantee of suddenly you become a superhero, right? It doesn't inoculate you from violence or anything like that, or anything that's going to happen. But it gives you the confidence to be able to handle yourself in situations, or the intelligence to stay out of those situations in the first place. So you don't have to use your physical, right? But they quickly find out that there's a lot more that goes into training in martial arts. We keep going back to the mindset thing and the power that your mind has over you and the decisions that you make and the things that you do. So when you learn the mindset of a martial artist, it's way more powerful than the physical stature that you might gain from becoming a black belt in Taekwondo or Jiu-Jitsu. While those things are great and they're effective, physically, if you're using your brain to start with and all the tools you learn from that, you're more than likely not going to find yourself in a situation that you need to use your martial art. That's our goal, is to keep you out of fights, not put you in them.
And I think you one of the things I know with some of the self-defense you teach is push and run.
Yep.
Get out of there.
Yep.
Right. And for little kids to push, yell, say, "You're not my mom, you're not my dad," and then to boogie, to bring that situation alive so people are paying attention, because crooks don't like that.
Yep.
Bullies.
And that's the biggest thing, is like I have never taught fighting. We don't fight unless it's a fight to defend yourself, but we don't start them. We don't go out looking for somebody to get in a fight with because we want to show off our martial arts capabilities. That's just dumb, right? We teach people to stay out of fights. Only use it when absolutely necessary, and then only use it what you need, and then get out, right? Fighting is not fun. It's not glamorous. It hurts. You bleed. You can break things. You can hurt. There's all kinds of problems that come with fighting, and we try to avoid them as much as we can. That's not to say it's never going to happen where we actually get to use our physical stuff, but the goal is not the physical, fighting with somebody else. It's to keep out of a fight. And when you learn the martial art, you create the confidence to know that you can handle yourself if you need to, but you carry yourself in such a way that trouble doesn't come to you because people don't want to mess with you in the first place, because you exude the confidence and the self-esteem to have people not bother you. They're almost like a respect of who you are because you respect yourself.
Amen.
I don't want to get in a fight.
No, I don't think there's
no desire.
I don't think there's a winner.
No. Nope.
Yeah. So there's never a winner in a fight. I think if you can avoid it and learn how to communicate your way out of it, you are so much better off.
Yep. Way ahead of the game.
Yeah. And those skills, I think, help you in life outside of fighting.
For sure.
Negotiation, dealing with friends, family, significant other.
Yep.
So I think those are all good things. Now, curiosity, when you do become a black belt, do you have to register with the city?
These hands is lethal weapons. Nope. That's one of the biggest myths out there. Register your hands. That's funny.
I was just curious because I've heard that before, right?
Yeah. No. I thought about creating like a certificate as like a joke. A registered hands award or something.
So that's an urban myth then, right?
It is. Yes, sir.
Ah, we love those.
Yep.
That's absolutely hilarious.
Yeah, there is no requirement to get on a database about martial arts black belts.
Too funny. So, what do you think are some of the top reasons for how to choose a school?
You kind of alluded to it in the beginning where you talked about your school was in close proximity to you, right? That's a big part of it. Just because the school is close to you doesn't mean it's a good school for you, right? That's a convenience for you. But what you need to do is when you go take like an intro lesson or intro classes with a school, you want to look for people who are genuine about what they're doing. They're not trying to sell you on something. They're not trying to tell you, we can get you a black belt in X amount of years, right? No questions asked. It's guaranteed. Saying things like that, or signing up for these long-term contracts that you can't get out of, right? And then what's the school look like? Is it clean? Are the people there friendly? Do they seem to enjoy being there? Is the instructor somebody that you can talk to, have a conversation with, or is he standoffish and think he's better than everybody else? Right? You don't want something like that. The environment it's going to be comfortable to be in, right? Location, obviously you want a place that's close, but if all those other things don't ring true for you, it's not going to be a good fit for you. You're not going to be happy. So just make sure that you're in a place that you feel comfortable, right? You're not going to know exactly if they're teaching exactly what you're supposed to be doing, but at some point you'll start to figure things out. But it's more about deciding if first of all, if the martial art is the one that you want to train in, and second of all, is the guy or girl who's teaching it, are they qualified to teach it, or are they trying to teach you something that's some hogwash hooey crap that doesn't do anything for you? They just take your money, and like I've seen some of the ones that they don't even touch you and you go flying across the room. It's crap. It doesn't work, right? And becoming a martial artist doesn't guarantee you your safety. So don't listen to them saying, "Yeah, I'm gonna teach you to be a black belt, and you'll be, you can fight Bruce Lee." It ain't gonna happen, right? Reality has to sink in. So just take all those things into account. Are they willing to work with your financial situation? Are they able to work with your schedule? Does it fit your schedule? All those factors come into play. But ultimately, if you don't feel comfortable there, then you shouldn't be there. Don't let them sell you, right? With their words. Make their actions and what they teach prove it to you. And then talk to the students who are already there. Talk to the families who are already there. Asking them why they stay. What's the reason for them being there? And is it a place that they like to be, or is it their place of just because they're, it's convenient for them? Talk to the families and find out why they're there and why they stay. Because ultimately they made the decision to stay for a reason. So if they're staying there and they can give you reasons why, and you think that they're good reasons, then try it out.
Yeah.
That's my biggest thing. Like when I bring in new students, do intro lessons with them, I tell them, I say, those parents over there that are sitting in the chairs with their kids on the mat, they're the ones you want to talk to. It's like I want you here, obviously, but the people who are already here and who've already made the decision for their children and for their families, they're staying here for a reason, and they'll tell you. So they're the ones that are going to determine whether you should be here or not me.
Yeah. Yeah, I think I think this is one of the reasons for me why we're doing this show, right? Is to give notation to and give an opportunity for people to see what's possible, for people to see that it's not as fearful as some people make it. It may not be as easy as some people make it either.
Yep.
And yeah, I mean, Bruce Lee's definitely the most famous, right? But you're not going to learn a 1-inch punch overnight.
Yep.
It
takes time.
Yeah. So, martial arts isn't something, yes, you may have a proclivity to it because you're athletic, you're flexible, you're able to lift your leg up and hold it up. You may be in shape so you can punch enough, you can kick enough, you can, and you have a good grasp on your body of how it moves and works. And when I think about that exercise piece, I look at, what's possible if you take the stuff in class and come home and use it. You will get in great shape.
Yep.
Both mentally and physically.
Correct.
Any other thoughts before we close up for today?
No, I think we covered pretty much all the main ones that people ask about. There's other minor ones, but most of those get answered with the other stuff. So we're just trying to clarify about when to start, anytime, where to go, find a place that you like, which martial art, one that fits what you're looking for. So those are the main three.
Yeah. I love it. Any other questions for me as one of your students, Mr. Yarwood?
No, I use the older adults as examples, right? Like when you hear the age thing, or you hear, I'm too old. No, you're not. Are you older than 60? Yes. Well, doesn't matter. Are you younger? Yes. Then come in. Age doesn't matter. Physical capabilities don't matter. None of that stuff matters. It's all a decision that you make. You come in and just get after it.
Yeah. And realize that it's a journey. It's not a snap your fingers.
Yep. It's going to take time.
Yeah. It's awesome. All right. Well, thank you so much, Thank you so much, Mr. Yarwood. And what are we going to be taking on next week?
Well, I was thinking about kind of answering some questions that people might have, or I had actually maybe even covering another one of our life skills.
Yeah.
We got a ton of life skills that we haven't covered yet. So I think getting back to picking one of those up and talking about some of the things that we teach beyond the martial arts would be pretty cool.
Awesome. I look forward to it. And with that, thank you, everybody. I know there's some people that have come in, and thank you to Even C10 tonight who's in Kenya, Kate Maxwell Williams, who's here in Minnesota, and Sean Hurdle, who's here in Minnesota, for coming in and watching and putting a heart and a thumbs up. Really do appreciate it. And for those of you that watch this post-production, thank you. Thanks for taking the time to look and see how this might benefit you moving forward into the future. And feel free, if you have any questions, to reach out on Facebook, reach out on YouTube, reach out on X, i.e. Twitter, formerly known as Twitter. We'd be more than happy to support you. If you reach out to me, if I can't answer it, I know that Mr. Yarwood will be able to. And as you can see, with both of us, we have our website information down at the bottom of our pictures. So feel free to come and check us out. With that, I want each of you to have a blessed week. Enjoy the upcoming weekend as we get ready to send our kids back to school here in the U.S. Thanks for watching. Have a happy Labor Day, and we'll see you next week.
See ya.